Sometimes the biggest realizations people have about someone don't actually happen during a conversation or through a text. They don't happen during a breakup. They don't happen not even during an argument. They happen later, usually during a really micro moment. Something that almost feels irrelevant, insignificant at first. Maybe they randomly open your old messages. Maybe they see your name somewhere unexpectedly. Maybe someone brings you up in conversation and suddenly something feels different. Because for a long time, people can just keep telling themselves this story about a connection, a story where the situation still feels unfinished. And maybe they even assume that distance is temporary. Maybe they think, okay, this silence is just them taking space. And maybe they even believe that eventually things will just pick back up again and just go back where they belong. They think the door is always going to be open and that connection is still there in the background, always waiting. But eventually, there's this moment where that belief stops making sense. And usually it's not dramatic. It's not some huge emotional argument. It's not a big thing. It's just something small and subtle. Something that makes them seem that real. How do I word this? It makes them realize that they waited too long, So in this reading, we're going to look at that exact moment, not the moment that it changed between you two, but the moment they realized it already has changed. So each pile here is going to explore a different situation where that realization happened, where it clicked. And sometimes it's going to be silence. Sometimes it's going to be lashing out. Sometimes it's going to be seeing you somewhere. Sometimes it's when they try to reconnect. And something about this interaction will have felt different. So take a moment, look at the piles, see which one you're drawn to. So we have pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, or pile 4. As usual, we'll have a bonus collective message at the very end of the video. So that would be after pile 4. Otherwise, we're going to start with pile 1 right now. So I'll meet you there. Pile 1, welcome. This energy feels confused, silent almost. So for this group, the moment things started to feel different for this person was actually very quiet. Nothing dramatic happened. There wasn't a fight. There wasn't a big ending. Yeah, there was no tower moment here. I mean, at least not from their perspective, because this is their perspective. Because for a long time, they were under the impression that this connection was just on pause. Not finito, just paused. This person assumed that things were eventually going to just come back full circle and that one of you would reach out, most likely you, that a conversation would happen naturally again. But that moment, the moment that belief started to sort of crumble down was something very simple. Whoa. Okay, so this person opened up your text thread. They noticed something. They're like, oh, shit. And they're like, I didn't pay attention to this before. The last message you sent, it was from you. And it had been sitting there for a long time. They left you on read. So at first they don't think much of it. They're like, oh, I just forgot to reply. I just, I didn't think anything of it. And they were just used to that dynamic of you being okay with it. So then they start scrolling up through the conversation. They're scrolling up and they're looking at older messages. Older, just chill combos you had. Maybe even like remembering the tone of certain conversations you guys had. So this person's noticing something interesting though. You used to reach out first all the time, like quite a bit, like every morning. You used to initiate convos. You used to send something random just because it's funny, like maybe like a meme, a message, asking how they're doing, add them into random group chats, just reacting to something funny, And the more they scroll up, and they're scrolling through this thread, the more obvious something becomes. That pattern stopped. So now all of a sudden, you stopped initiating. You stopped checking in. We have Leo and we have Pisces. You stopped continuing conversations that would normally just keep going. And at first, they assumed you were just busy or distracted or just going through something, right? Because people often interpret silence in like different ways, right? So they interpret it as whatever way feels the most comfortable for themselves. But the moment that assumption started to fall apart is when they noticed how long it's actually been since you reached out. Weeks, maybe months. And what worries them a little bit is realizing something else. You never follow up with them again. So they do something that a lot of people do in this situation. They type a message out. They're do. Maybe something casual. Something simple like, hey, how have you been? Or something like reacting to an old conversation like, oh, hey, just saw this. Like, or maybe they start typing something indirect, but then they hesitate. Sagittarius here. Because something about that feels awkward right now. They expected you to reach out first. That's the way it's always been. Here's Taurus. That was your guys' rhythm, But now that rhythm is gone. There is no jive between you guys, So what really starts to bother them, what really gives them this tower moment, is that they realize they don't actually know when this change happened. They expected you to reach out first because that was always the pattern, right? That was what you guys had always done. See with the Wheel of Fortune, that confirms it. But now that that's gone, well, shit. They're tripping balls. They're really upset by it because they're realizing they don't actually know when everything changed. They just know that it did. So they start paying attention in small ways. Here's Gemini. They're checking if you're active online. They're seeing if your profile's popped up somewhere. Yeah, Queen of Wands. They're trying to look if you're watching their stories too. They might be posting more. It's just stuff like that, like almost like petty things like that. And what they notice is that, look at, like, you're just normal. You're just chilling. You're active. You're around. You're doing things, but you're not. You're living your life, but you're not. It's almost like you're not including them. We've got Cancer here. You're not reaching out. You're not at their feet, you know. And that's when that new thought starts creeping in. Remember, they got the Tower here. This is like them thinking, shit, maybe they're not giving me the silent treatment by accident. Like, maybe they're not busy. Maybe they're low key trying to give me the no contact, you know? That's what this person's thinking. So this person's a little worried because they're thinking about things they never had worried about before. They're worried like that maybe you stopped trying. Oh, you got Scorpio here too. Not that you stopped out of anger, not out of drama, but just because you simply moved on emotionally. That's you, the Empress. And the strange thing here is this realization doesn't happen all at once. Got Aries as well. This is a slow build here. And maybe they noticed one day that they had a hand in this, you know. This person's posting things and realizing you're not reacting the way you normally would. What's going on? Or they realized that they posted something and they expected you to notice. You got Virgo here and you didn't even like view it. You know, they're putting it up to get your attention. And what's unsettling them the most here, it's not the silence itself. It's the possibility that you're no longer thinking about them in a way that you used to. Because for a long time, they believed that this connection still existed in the background, you know, even if it wasn't active. So, but now they're starting to wonder if that part was only true for them, you know? And that's where the regret with them begins to start to show up. Because not dramatic regret, just I need to figure myself out. I'm not going to have a huge emotional breakdown, but I need to figure myself out. This is just a thought that's coming in their mind. You know, they're just realizing it because they're stuck in visions of you together. They're like, shit, I should have reached out sooner. They're like, damn, I was assuming too much. I was accusing her of doing shit she wasn't doing because my emotions overwhelm me. Do you see that? So the strange thing is here, they may not have even admitted any of this out loud. But the moment they realized the silent now feels intentional, that's when the thought appeared of that Tower moment. They're realizing you were right and that you've triggered them now. They're realizing they may have waited way too long. And what really confirmed that feeling for them is when they eventually do see you somewhere or reach out to you somewhere. And like, so it could be online, mutual friends, school, work, you know, randomly in public. And something about you feels calm, like normal, like you don't, like you're not bothered, you know, like you don't care what they're doing. It's like someone who's already closed that door a long time ago. And that's when the realization becomes very clear for them. This connection didn't just fade. It ended very quietly. And they didn't notice until much, much too late. And by the time they did notice, it was already too late. All right. Follow us into pile 2 and we'll see if we can get some overlapping messages. Otherwise, go to the very end of this video and check out the bonus collective message. I'm also wondering if you guys would want to see the dowsing rods. You know how you can ask yes or no questions. I was kind of thinking of implementing those, but I would love your opinions. Let me know if you're down for the rods or not. But I'll see you either in pile 2 or the collective. I'll meet you there. Bye. Pile 2, welcome. This person feels regretful. Seems like they feel like you've moved on. So the moment this person realized something changed between you wasn't because there was silence. This person saw something. Not a convo. Not like some big argument. But somewhere unexpected. Maybe it was like a social media story or a picture that someone tagged you in, or someone's snap story, or just like hearing about you from someone like a mutual friend. But the thing that kind of caught them off guard was like how you looked. Okay. So you seemed comfortable, relaxed, natural, like someone who wasn't carrying the weight of the past anymore, like someone who wasn't putting others before them anymore. And that shocked them because in their mind, the connection was like the first and foremost. And it was like the thing that existed in your life the most. Even if you weren't talking every day, they thought they were, you know, the center of their world. They were the center of your world, I'm sorry. And that you were still thinking of them. Got Aries here. They feel like you were still emotionally tied to this situation in some way, shape, or form. Also got Aquarius. But the moment they see you, there's something about your energy just like feels super different. In a good way. 4 of Wands, you feel like free. You're laughing and partying. You're laughing in a video someone's posting like just in the background, you know? Sitting at a table with friends, just vibing. It's like a candid photo, looking genuinely happy to be there. And it doesn't look forced. And that's the part that has bothered them, has unsettled them. It doesn't look like someone pretending to be okay. Like you didn't look like someone pretending to be okay. Like you looked okay. Here's Virgo. And at first they just brush it off like it's nothing. Here's Pisces. Because when someone usually like challenges the narrative or the story they tell themselves, people will do that. Like they'll pretend like it's not that, you know, like they'll try and alter the reality. They'll be like, oh, that's just one picture, like one snapshot of their life. That's not really them. But then it keeps happening over and over and over again. Here's Taurus. Yeah. Another picture, another story, another moment where you seem comfortable without them, surviving without them. And then slowly something starts to change in their head. And for a long time, Leo, they believed you were emotionally waiting for them. Not literally, just like emotionally, like with your heart on your sleeve for them, you know? Still just involved with them in situations. Still thinking about them in ways that, oh, here's Scorpio trying to pop out. So now they're questioning everything they thought was real, you know? So the moment that really makes it hit them is usually something small. Yeah, that's you, Ace of Wands. I think there's like a mutual friend that like casually mentions that you've been doing fab. You're doing great. And someone says something and they bring you up. And they're like, oh, yeah, they've been really busy lately. And they're just like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't know that. Or they're like, oh, he or she seems really happy. And then that comment like stays with them. Because it confirms what they were already trying to change in their head and notice, you know? Like, you didn't stay stuck in that same emotional place they thought you'd be stuck in. You kept moving forward. Three of Swords. That's the second time this one tried to come out. And that realization makes them sort of reflect on the past and see where they went wrong, what happened. This person remembers certain conversations very differently now. Certain moments that they brushed off at the time. Here's Cancer energy. Maybe moments where you tried to communicate something with them and they just brushed you off. Moments where you tried to understand them and they made you feel like you were a burden. Moments where you were more open than they realized. We have Capricorn here too. Oh, we have Gemini here too. So now all of those memories feel super different to them because they're realizing something they didn't fully appreciate before. Seven of Wands. You actually gave them more chances than they had ever even noticed. You gave them opportunities to step up, to show up differently, to say something they had never said. And now, 10 of Cups, they're realizing that you eventually stopped offering those chances. So it wasn't dramatic. And it wasn't angry either. It was just quietly. And what makes this realization like especially uncomfortable for them is that they can't rewind time. They can't, here's Libra. They can't go back to those earlier moments. They can't respond differently now. You know? Because now they're seeing you in a place where you're no longer emotionally invested in the outcome. Sagittarius. And that's when the thought appears. So this person assumed they had more time with you. More time to figure things out. More times to reach out. More times to eventually say what they meant to say. But seeing you like this, ooh, happy, independent, look, their emotions overwhelm them. You're just comfortable without them, right? Need to figure themselves out. They're realizing they weren't prepared for this. they're stuck in the old vision of you guys, and they're saying, you were right. Our relationship didn't stay where it was. It just kept going, you know, like you weren't waiting for anyone. They want to be different. They want to reach out. Yikes. All right. I'm going to go into pile 3 now. There will be a bonus collective message at the end of pile 4, but it'll be for everybody. I'm also thinking of adding in dowsing rods to ask a couple questions for the piles. If you guys are interested in that, let me know. Otherwise, I won't implement it. But definitely let me know. And I'll see you in pile 3 or the bonus collective. See you there. Bye. Pile 3, welcome. This feels like an attention seeker. Let's see. So for this group, the moment this person started realizing something changed with you was when they tried to get your attention. Did you see that? All the cards flew out. That's them. And then nothing happened when they tried to do that. So this person is someone who is used to a certain response from you. They're used to getting a reaction out of you, maybe curiosity, maybe engagement. Ooh, so sometimes at some point in the past, this person knew how to get under your skin. They knew how to get your attention. Sometimes it was intentional. Sometimes it was subtle. But they understood those buttons to poke you and make you mad. So we got Libra and Gemini. So for a long time, them pushing your buttons worked. And they would like post like some random shit online, like something vague. Like something like, yeah, though some people treat me like shit in my life and blah, blah, blah. Like just to like, so you'd be like, hello, like who are you talking about? Like you're talking about me? We just hung out today. Why are you putting this up now? This is Capricorn. And you'd be like, what's going on? Why would you post this passive aggressive thing online? That's what this feels like. The moment things started changing for them was when they tried some stupid shit like that again. And you maybe watched it. You watched the story and you did not reply. Like, I feel like you were on the verge. Like you were like, and then you didn't. And this person at first thought that you didn't see it. And then they're like, oh, but she did see it. Here's Cancer. So they're scrolling through the list of viewers. I can see them. And they see your name pop up. Boop. And they're like, oh, they saw it. But she didn't ask me what was wrong. Oh, okay. I guess I'll just go wash my face and get ready for bed. And as they're like washing their face, you're like, that was super unusual of her. Like, why didn't she reply to me? Or why didn't he reply to me? So then they try another approach later. So they try approaching something else before bed that would like normally spark curiosity. And it does from the wrong people. Like they weren't trying to get a reaction out of other people. It was like towards you, but you weren't taking the bait. Aries right here. So again, nothing happened. They didn't get the reaction they wanted. No message, not even like an emoji reaction. Zero curiosity from your point, but you're making it known that you're watching them. Like, because obviously it pops up. And so then the confusion's creeping in and they're like, what the fuck's going on? But I feel like you were a bit hesitant to watch it. You're like, well, do I want to watch it? Because like, obviously you want to say something, but you don't want to react. But yeah, keep watching it because it's making them uncomfortable knowing that you're watching it, but you're not saying anything. Because they're like, why aren't they reacting? 4 of Cups. So you're no longer emotional, pile 3. Like you're not giving them those emotional responses anymore. You might be kind of getting tied up on the inside, but not like you're not showing it. Here's Leo. Good job to you, pile 3, because that's hard to do, man. It comes in waves for this person. They're gonna send you a direct message at some point, but it'll be like subtle, but it will be direct. They just want to see like what happens. Okay, here's Scorpio and your 8 of Cups. So these two together is you replying politely, neutral. You're friendly, but you're like, your bullshit's dead to me. You know what I mean? Ooh, and here's Aquarius. You're not getting pulled in. You're not asking follow-up questions. You're acting like you don't really care. And you kind of have to act like that with someone like this. You're not leaning into a conversation with them. You're not reacting the way you used to. And that's when they start realizing something they hadn't really accepted before. The influence that they used to have in your life, of your attention, of your emotions, because they know that they used to like make you emotional. They know they did. Here's Taurus. And they're noticing it, and they're noticing it's not because you're angry. It's not because she's trying to prove something, 10 of Swords, but because your emotional focus has just changed, moved elsewhere, I just saw Pisces trying to come out. I'm going to take it. So this is uncomfortable for them because it means like something that they relied on before is no longer there. Your attention, pile 3. Your curiosity. Your emotional reactions. Not accessible anymore. So the more they try small things to see if the old dynamics still exist, the more obvious it is to them. But it doesn't change anything. And that's when the realization slowly settles in for them. The connection they thought they could come back to whenever they wanted doesn't work that way anymore. I cannot take it anymore. It's all too much. They're actually scared of losing you, pile 3. So the person they're used to getting a rise out of, used to getting reactions out of, isn't there anymore. Because you changed. And the time they noticed that, it was already too late to bring that old you back. Pile 3, that's pretty intense here. I'm going to respectfully move away from this energy, but that's pretty intense. Follow us into pile 4. You might have some overlapping energies. Otherwise, follow us into the collective message at the very end of the video. So that'll be after pile 4, but I'll have chapters. And let me know if it resonates. I'm also thinking of implementing those dowsing rods where you ask questions and it says yes or no. So let me know if you guys are interested in something like that, just as a little mini segment within the piles. Otherwise, meet us in 4 or the bonus collective. See you there. Bye. Pile 4, welcome. This feels like someone trying to sneak their way back in like a little mouse. For this group, this realization happened during an interaction. It wasn't like an argument though, and it wasn't like a confrontation. Yeah, King of Swords. You guys may have been doing something active at the time this happened. It was just like you trying to reconnect. They were maybe replying to one of your stories, or you guys were in public, or they sent a message after a long time. They ran into you unexpectedly. And from their perspective, they expected the conversation to feel familiar. They expected you guys to be able to pick up where things had left off, but you were kind of like, it's not the way this works. So, but almost immediately, something felt different. Your responses are polite, but they're like different. You have Virgo here and Aries and Taurus. Yeah, you were super mutual. You weren't cold. You weren't rude. Oh, look, Temperance came out. This is Sagittarius. You're not leaning towards them either, though. Like, you're not trying to make them feel comfortable babying them, you know? And that's super confusing to them because they were expecting something else, you know? Maybe curiosity, maybe warmth, maybe just some version of you that they used to know. Yeah, Ace of Pentacles. But instead, it was conflicting. Do you see that? They feel the distance. The conversation stays, this is a surface level conversation. And you respond, but you don't really open that door any wider. You're just like, yeah, okay, bye, you know? And then that's when they start realizing, here's Aquarius, realizing that they haven't actually accepted something entirely, and access to you has changed, and they never really thought about it till now. So you're no longer emotionally available to them the way you used to be. Even if you're still kind and talking to them, still respectful, you have Cancerian energy here. The familiarity that once existed with you guys, the communication here, see that? It's gone. Followed by the Capricorn card. So that realization can happen very, very quickly. Sometimes within just a few minutes of that initial conversation, they're like, wait, something's up. What's going on? Judgment. They notice that you're not asking them certain questions anymore. Like, they're noticing that the conversation pauses and sort of freezes for a sec. And in the past, that pause would have normally did something else. Wheel of Fortune. Maybe like that pause would have been you asking like, so, well, what have you been up to? Like, you would try and fill in the blanks, you know? You would have just kept the conversation going. Page of Swords. But that was the old immature version of you. Do you see that? So this time you don't. And I have Pisces trying to pop out here too. You let the silence just exist. You're like, whatever, dude, I'm not doing this. And that feels super unfamiliar to them because in the past, you were usually like the one who kept things moving, who kept building things together. See that? You were the one asking questions. You were the one, Libra, creating reasons to keep talking together, creating funny stories together, you know, like telling them funny things that happened. But now the responsibility of the question feels, the responsibility of the relationship feels different because you're not asking constant questions. Here's Leo. And now they're like, oh, now I'm trying to keep the convo going. Why don't they want to talk about anything anymore? Two of Wands, that's them deciding, what are we going to do? What am I going to do? Knight of Swords. So the strange thing here is you still respond politely to them, but you're not like giving them the same emotional opening that you used to. You're just answering them, you know? You're not investing yourself. Emotions overwhelm me. You triggered me. So something's clicking for them. That they cannot make you happy anymore. They're no longer interacting with the same version of you that they remember. And they want out of this. They're like, I want the old you back. The person that you used to keep The person that used to keep that connection alive isn't here anymore. They've checked out, and that's you. And that realization creates a very specific feeling. It's not rejection exactly, but it's like definitely distance. The kind of distance that only exists when someone's already moved on emotionally and they realize that. You're not going to linger in the conversations anymore waiting for a reply. You're not going to create a reason to keep talking. See, that the Empress, she's busy on her throne. And the more they keep trying to interact with you, the more obvious it becomes. You're treating them like someone from your past because they are. They only served you in the past, And that's when the realization lands. You have Lovers here. That's Gemini. The opportunity that they thought was still there always is no longer available. And it's not because you rejected them directly. You didn't say anything harsh. But because the connection had already closed quietly. And now, all that remains is distance, like the skeleton of what you guys were. But it's respectful distance. But it's definitely a distance, And that's the moment they understand something they didn't want to believe, that they didn't want to believe before at all. They waited too long to come back. That's all I have for you, Pile 4. Follow us into the bonus message next. And we'll get you some more answers. I'm also thinking of implementing the dowsing rods where you can ask yes or no questions. I'm looking to see if you guys are even interested in that. Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in the collective message right after this. I'll see you there. Bye. Welcome to the bonus message. Why did this realization happen now? So before we close off this reading, I'm going to just let one message come through for those of you that stayed till the end. So this part isn't really about like what they realized. It's about why they're realizing it now. Because sometimes people don't truly understand someone's value, someone's boundaries, someone's worth until they see a different version of that person who doesn't need their approval anymore. You know what I mean? So for a long time in this connection, there may have been unspoken assumptions that you would always be there, like not necessarily in an obvious way or a clingy way, but definitely there in the background always. And you were always someone they could come back to, that they could reconnect with. You have Gemini as your shadow card here. They could come back whenever the time felt right to them. And when people believe that, they don't always recognize the importance of that person. Not in real time anyways. They assume they're always going to be another chance to talk about it, another chance to see you, another conversation, another moment where things can be explained, Ace of Coins. But what this person is starting to realize now is that something about you has changed. And they're judging it from afar. And it's not like in an angry way. not in a dramatic way. Like, it's nothing negative, but it's in a way that shows that you're no longer emotionally tied to the outcome of this working out, like of you guys working out, you know? So strangely enough, that's what finally makes them see the connection clearly. Because when someone's thoughts, you know, when they stop trying to prove themselves, truth just seems to come out. You know, they can't deny it. This person begins to carry a very different sort of presence. And that's the version of you this person is starting to notice. Here's Leo too. Someone who's like calm, someone who's focused on their own life. Here's Cancer here. Someone who isn't waiting for a reaction anymore. And that's exactly why the realization is happening now. 7 of Swords. Because the moment someone understands they no longer have the same access to you, here's Scorpio, it's often a moment that they finally recognize what that connection actually meant to them. 3 of Cups. So if you're hearing this message right now, there's a good chance that this situation is already teaching you something or has taught you something about yourself. Your ability to walk away from something that once mattered a lot to you and still move forward is one of your strongest assets. Sometimes that's just the moment where everything quietly falls into place, you know? Let's see if we can get you any angel messages here. And it's not because someone else is changing, but it's because you did. So your first angel message is, your children are the greatest gift of all. They teach you more than you teach them. Love will get you through. Very cute. Let's see. If in doubt, ask for an inspirational message from above. Only think positive thoughts, as your desires are always manifesting. I'll pull one more because I started shuffling. Remember, your angels are always there to guide you. Thank you for spending your energy with me, and remember to always take care of yourself first. I'll see you in the next reading. Bye.